Welcome to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insights, tech tips, and real stories from the field. All right, everybody. It's Pat with Commercial Kitchen Chronicles again, and today I have very special guest Nadeem from Watts Water here, and we're going to talk about backflow and the importance of backflow and some of the features that they have in their products. So thank you for joining me, Nadeem.
Thank you. It's great to be here, especially in Orlando. Beautiful weather out here. I come from Boston. When I left Boston, it was 17 degrees, so what a change.
Yeah. I noticed that I do a lot of Watts stuff, but not really backflow. I do commercial kitchens, so I do like vacuum breakers and some pressure regulating valves, and then I do some door mount stuff on gas line. But I was pretty intrigued by their backflow and what they've come out with. They've done quite a bit of innovation the last few years in the backflow side of it. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, man, as you know, Watts is a 150 years old company.
Yeah, there's a big celebration last year.
Yeah, we celebrated that 150 years of being in business, and one of the key products, obviously, when we started, was the backflows.
Yeah.
Or in other words, the backflow prevention. I think that just for your audience who may not be familiar with the backflow prevention itself, it plays a very important role in our life. Mm-hmm. It's not obvious to everyone.
Yeah.
You have probably a backflow prevention in your house, you have backflow prevention in your office and manufacturing facility. And only purpose the backflow is serving is safety. Mm-hmm. There's no other purpose for the backflow to be there. What I say to people is that this is like a circuit breaker in your house. When things are not going the way they're supposed to, you want to be close to the... All right. I can lean in.
There you go.
Is that better?
That's a lot better here.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so it's like a circuit breaker from that. In last 4 years, the business made a decision that we need to bring these products and start using the modern technology on top of the backflow function that it always performed. So keeping that in view, we have invested millions and millions of dollars in research and development. And the idea behind that is, how do you make this product even more safer? Mm-hmm. We still have accidents, cross-connection incident happen every year. And the whole code system, the way it's set up, is somebody goes in and does the testing, a certified tester does the product testing. What happens in between those tests?
Yeah, because a lot of times I work in commercial buildings. A lot of times they're in a sprinkler room. They're somewhere off to the side. You don't see it, so you don't know if it's leaking or if you have an issue. You don't realize you do until someone sees it. So that's why the connected side is really important.
Exactly, I think you hit it right on the head. With the modern buildings that we are building in downtown Boston or downtown New York, the real estate is premium. Mm-hmm. Right, so they will want to use that real estate for renting it or selling it, rather than using that as a mechanical room.
Yep.
So they'll find a spot which is where nobody goes, mm-hmm. and they hide everything in that room. And only time you end up in that room is when something goes bad.
Yeah, I've seen them in kitchens, like up high on the side of the wall somewhere. I'm like, what made you guys put it there? But it's like you said, real estate's prime, and you have to have that space. So
right. Yeah, you have to utilize to the best, what goes best for the business.
So what is the driving force? I mean, it's the safety and everything else with that technology, that connected technology.
So sustainability.
Yep.
If you look at that, and please don't quote me on the numbers, but there's a lot of wastage of water.
Yep.
Even though we know the water shortages are coming, but at the same time, we are not consuming the water as this is a resource that we're going to run out of.
Yeah.
Every drop of water, potable water that's clean, coming from a lake or wherever it's coming from, or a well, is going through a backflow. Mm-hmm. So that opens up a lot of opportunities for us to be able to monitor the flow of water across a network in a city and town and be able to identify where there may be a leakage, where the water is going, just like we use with electrical meters, that you can see where the leakage is or where electricity is going somewhere it should not be. So we can do that with just making those backflow smart and connected. So that has been one area of focus for us. We are obviously sustainability, environment is important for the business.
So how long has Watts been? How long have they been involved in backflow technology?
So backflow technology, I would say, over 100 years.
Wow.
Right. So we started with the regulators, pressure regulators, and then one thing led to another. That we have started having patents. We are the only manufacturer with the backflow that we're manufacturing products right here in U.S. of A.
Nice. That's a really cool point there. So,
in today's age, backflow is a big kahuna. If you look at that, we have our own foundries where we melt metal.
Wow.
And convert that into backflow. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of pride. I was watching all the 150-year celebration stuff that's going on last year, and it was like there was a lot of pride everywhere you go. Everyone was happy. They were excited to share in that 150 years. So that's really cool. It's a product right here, made right here, founded right here.
Exactly right.
That's great.
Yeah. And we have engineering support, the technology that's so much needed. We also do a lot of training for the people who are coming into the business. We also have scholarships that we sponsor for people to be able to go to community colleges, get training. In fact, there was somebody was doing a podcast before you came in, and they were talking about. So Watts is very much involved.
That's cool. That's cool. So for people who don't know, can you give a brief explanation of what a backflow is?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite subject. It's the proper word is actually backflow prevention.
Yep.
Right. So if you're in a kitchen, if you're in a industry, you're using water.
Yep.
You're using water, you're mixing chemicals, like if you're doing a simple thing as irrigation on a lawn, you're sprinkling chemicals, fertilizer, you have pesticide, all those things. So there's always a risk of that, whatever you have sprinkled out there, and there's a water. If you throw out a hose, that it'll back siphon and suck that water back in. And that backwater go into the municipal supply. Similarly, if there's an industry who's using chemicals, whatever, same thing can happen to them. A water can go back in the main water supply that's coming in, and that can cause contamination for everybody else.
In my industry, in the commercial kitchens, like dish machines all have vacuum breakers on them because they fill, of course, but then they put chemicals in there, soaps and sanitizers and stuff like that, so they have to have that air gap. So if it does, if we do have an event where it's a broken line or something else, it doesn't siphon it out. A lot of my stuff is now integral into the machine, or they do some other ways around it, but it's really important just to keep contaminations. It can be a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be soap. It could be sewage. It could be a lot of different things that can get siphoned back in. So it's really important that the building's back code is functioning properly.
Absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head. Because if you look at the kitchen, kitchen is just not where the cooking is happening. It's also the cleaning is happening in the kitchen. And there's a lot of water that's coming in. Water is the main source of cleaning a kitchen, doing all the cooking, whatever spices that you're mixing with that. You have risk of meat being touched, is being all over the place. So it becomes even more important. And typically you will have in a kitchen, you'll have the main line that's coming in that will be prevented by a backflow, a 2-3 inch backflow, and then they're coming inside your kitchen.
All the equipment has individuals.
And you'll see multiple backflows.
I see a lot of changes. I've been doing this 20 years. I see a lot of changes. No equipment's allowed to be hard pipe directly to the drain. You got to have the air gap there to kind of help with that situation. Then everything has its own either an anti-siphon or a backflow on it. So the manufacturers are really involved in doing their part as well.
Exactly right. So you brought up a good point on air gaps. So some of these backflows that are used in high hazard environment, they will have a third way of protection. It's called the relief valve.
Yep.
So one of the technologies that we have introduced is relief valve is when things are not going right, it will start dumping water.
Yep.
And if something is not doing right, it'll dump a lot of water. So if you think about that, if you have even 2-inch backflow, it will be dumping 25, 30 gallons per minute.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water, right? So you're wasting that water, number one. Number two is if you have closed your kitchen at midnight and something bad happens and you come in the next morning at 11, 12 o'clock, whatever, you better bring your canoe with you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I've seen some flooded kitchens. That is not a fun morning.
Right.
That's
So
not a fun
we
morning.
have the technology that we can sense that water coming from the relief valve. We can measure how much water is coming, and we can measure how long it's coming, and we can send out an alert.
Nice. Yeah, so that's cool. So do you utilize an app, or is it just a service or a website, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's very simple. So you can do it two ways. If you have your internal building management system or that are quite popular,
Yep.
you can connect that
Okay.
to that system who can send an alert. We also provide the Wi-Fi. So you can send out alert through a Wi-Fi, and that gets distributed everywhere. The third option is we provide cellular gateways.
Okay.
So the cellular gateway basically will send you, not only you, but you can have 10 people.
Nice.
And it can send a voicemail, give you a call and say, hey, something bad is happening. It can send you a text message saying, go check that one. Or it can also send you an email.
Nice. So plumbing, I never realized how plumbing codes were, how complex they were.
Yes.
I mean, and so you guys are playing a huge role in, the safety of the nation. So how do you guys work with compliance with plumbing codes and everything?
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's different. I mean, municipalities, cities, counties, states, it's all different. It's wild out there.
Right, it is. And the thing is that people don't realize that we go beyond the plumbing code.
Yep.
Because this is, as I said, this is a safety device.
Oh, yes,
right?
yes.
So plumbing code is there to help, but people don't realize that if I have to bring a new backflow to market, it requires 2 years of testing.
Wow.
There's University of California, they have a whole hydraulics department. They will do the testing. So it's a third-party testing that will require 6 months of in-lab testing and then 18 months of in-the-field testing.
Wow.
And if you fail the test, you go back to square one.
So you have years of development and then 2 years of testing before you can even think
At
about
least.
releasing.
So it's about, we think of cycle as 7 to 10 years
Wow.
before you can bring the product.
That's a huge
to the
investment into a
market.
product. I mean,
That's millions and millions of
Yeah.
dollars of investments in technology and reliability.
so if you go to testing, do you have to test every single size you make in that style too?
Absolutely. You have to submit every single size that you're making. Every single size is installed on a real site. It's not lab testing. It actually goes out and it's more stringent than UL or FM testing because they're literally installed in the field and they have monitors going out there checking every month on the performance. And if they find something that's not performing as it is, they bring it back and you start all over again.
Wow. So there are different variety of sizes. Like, what's your size range on your backflow?
So we go as small as quarter inch.
Wow, that's
Right,
tiny.
Because some of these backflow preventers, they are also used in like a carbonation machines.
Yep.
Right, as you very well know.
Soda machines,
For
stuff
soda
like- yeah.
machines, coffee makers, and all those things. So those can be tiny quarter-inch connection will do, and then we'll go all the way to 12-inch. The big kahuna.
I've seen driving by condo buildings, you see some outside, especially in warmer climates like this, you'll see some outside they're like 2 or 4 inch. But 12 inch, that's a lot of water flow.
So if you were, I don't know if you've been walking around in Orlando.
Yeah.
So code here is different, weather here is different. They will allow you to put that big backflow outdoors. So that's a good idea to just walk around and see what a massive thing. It's all cast iron. It weighs about 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. That's crazy. 12 inches. That's moving a ton of water.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, could you explain the significance of the Armortech coating system in your backflow preventers and how it inhibits biologically induced corrosion? Sorry.
So, that's a long sentence.
Yes, it's a long. I had to write that down so I could read it because I wouldn't remember
that's
that.
a long sentence. So that's we were talking about making an investment.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a technology that we have really invested in. Company owns a patent. We are the only manufacturers who's applying that. It's basically when the water is coming in, there's a lot of microbes, bad things in water.
Yeah.
Right. And those bad things can occur and stick to the water surface, or to the backflow surface, and cause even more problem. Make is one of them. You can have the rusting. That's a problem. So we have made this special coating that we apply inside the backflow. So whatever surface that water is touching is not touching the metal itself, but the surface which is clean, that's protective. And it's a huge investment for us developing a product that's sustainable and that's going to stay there for a long period of time.
So it serves two purposes, though. So it keeps microbes and anything from attacking it, but it also extends the life of that backflow device. So it's well worth it in the long run, especially if you're a customer.
Absolutely.
Maybe sales go down a little bit, but it's worth it in the long run.
I think it's definitely worth it. We have worked with quite a few municipalities.
Yep.
So in a municipality, they have huge investment, and every 10 years or 5 years they will change the backflow because the water and all those chemicals has eaten up the backflow itself.
Yep.
So this is great return on investment for those guys.
Yep.
Just you'll pay a little bit of premium.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you get an extra year or two out of that device, it's thousands of dollars. Especially if you're at a water treatment plant and you're sending water out to a whole city. I mean, you're gonna have a big one. It's gonna be some money. So that's a really good point. That's pretty cool technology you guys have developed there.
Yeah, it's not, and also when thinking about the cost, it's not only the cost of the backflow itself.
It's the safety though.
It's the maintenance cost. You have to send somebody over to dig that thing out and replace it and shut the water off for the city.
Yeah, I hope you have a backup or an auxiliary system you can run where you shut that off, so you're not shutting down a whole city or whatever, or a whole section of the city. So that's really cool. That shows that you guys are thinking ahead and you guys are leading the way in new technology development.
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
So we hear this word, it's IoT, it's Internet of Things. So can you discuss the role of IoT in in transforming traditional plumbing components into smart devices within Watt's product lines?
I think we touched on this a little bit. So it's Internet of Things. It's around us.
Yep, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. We like it or not, it's everywhere. It's in my car. It tells me what time I need to change the oil.
I have it in ovens in restaurants. They're tied to everything. Fryers, dish machines, they're tied to the internet.
Right.
They auto-download software. They auto-do updates. If you have a problem, sometimes someone will actually call. They'll actually schedule their own service if something's broken. So I fully understand that. It's crazy.
Right. So the oven in my house has a Wi-Fi. And when I was buying it, the salesperson was trying to push Wi-Fi. I said, what am I going to do? Will it cook itself? So I send it a recipe over the Wi-Fi and it'll start doing while I get home. So we're talking about the plumbing, right? All our plumbing, if you're sitting in this beautiful hall, we don't see any plumbing. There's a restroom on the left side, there's another restroom on the right. You don't see any plumbing. So we do a lot of good effort to hide all the plumbing.
Yeah.
Right? And anytime we find out about that plumbing when something goes wrong.
Yeah. That leak may have been really tiny for a long time before it got really big and really important. So, with your system, you can tell something's going on. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. So, in our case, what the IoT is doing is we have a network of sensors that's spread across your facility, mostly based on where the backflow is. And with that, we can tell the pressures, we can tell the flow of the water, and that's a good information for whoever is managing this facility to have. So the whole idea is that you get to know about things before they happen. I'll give you the story. My favorite restaurant in Portland, Maine, where we go frequent quite often, they had a water leak overnight. They only found out when people came in this morning, and they have to shut down the place. It's gone. It's not. The losses are so heavy, just because of that leak in water pipe, that you can do that. And I was walking past that restaurant, and they had a big notice, because they've been in business for many, many years, that it was simple water leak that could have been totally 100% preventable.
Yeah.
With a very simple technology, being able to detect the water was coming out and being able to send an alert. And it's not even expensive.
Water always wins.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, you look at the Grand Canyon, that was carved by a little bitty creek that just kind of eventually turned into what it is. Water always finds a way, and it will win. So that's really good. That's really cool. You guys have, you're developing that technology.
Yeah.
So what measures has Watts implemented to ensure security and privacy from the data collected from the IoT?
Right. I think that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. We are sharing information, and people are trusting us by providing the information. How much water you can tell a lot from the water usage.
Yeah.
If you were going to we're in an industry and you want to see how much product they're making, all you have to look at their energy supply, how much energy they're consuming, or how much water they're consuming. Those are critical elements in that. So people trusted us with that information, and we just want to make sure that that is protected. So we go through a process called penetration testing. So every device that we have goes through a rigorous process of penetration testing. And the whole idea behind that is a third party cannot come in and dip into that data set that we have, that somebody has trusted us with. And we put them in a safe place in a cloud, the data that we collect, and which is not easily accessible to others. It's also encrypted and deciphered in that way. We also have made changes in our product where all the calculations, all the algorithms are running locally on the hardware that's on site. So only thing that's coming from that going outside is a signal and alert. Just two wires to switch on and off, where you cannot go backtrack into the device itself.
That's good to know. Data is important. People think, just because it's water data that it's not important, but there's a lot of stuff out there that people don't want to get out there. And like you said, if a lot of times all you need to know is about how much power and how much water they have, and you can tell, how big their operation really is. So that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, looking ahead, how does Watts plan to further innovate the realm of backflow prevention and smart water management systems?
Right. So, AI is playing an important role. What we don't know, we don't know. So, we have been training our AI models. This has been for last 3-4 years, where we are picking up the data and trying to make sense out of it. So, just to give you an example, I can see a check one, let's say, failing in a backflow. Since that failure is occurring quite a few times, and I have the data, so I can look what happened before that and what happened after that. I have that signature that using artificial intelligence we can replicate. So when I see that signature happening, I can say, oh, I've seen this story before.
Yeah, let's get ahead of it.
Right. This movie has run before, so let's try to figure out what to do. So this plays into sustainability very well. We're stopping the water wastage. If there's a leak that's going out, water is being a very expensive commodity. So we are doing all those things to make sure that we keep this earth safe, the environment safe, and keep everybody healthy.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. It's not only the health and the safe of the water system, but it's also looking out so you're not wasting water. So you guys are helping out on both sides of it. You're keeping people safe and saving their money. So that's really good. Really good outlook you guys have on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole goal. I think WARS itself is really interested in keeping the environment safe, sustainability. We get measured on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, every product that we bring to life, I have to do a lot of work to say how will this save our environment. And it's not only the product itself; it's like packaging. How we're consuming energy to produce that product. Are we throwing out? Are we burning stuff? So all those plays an important role in our production
So
facilities.
your systems, I assume they plug in. You have to have a power source, or do you have backup batteries? I mean, because if you lose power and something happens, do you have a backup system to help with the alerts and stuff like that, or?
Yes. So depending on the system and what you're using, so there will be a backup,
Okay.
battery backup typically. And what we also find is the facilities, they will have their own backup. If you're running a system, you have to have some sort of a backup to be able to provide those alerts. So some of that is done through the batteries, but if you had something remote, like you were a municipality and you have a backflow, we can also provide the solar.
Nice.
So where you don't have to run the wire, there's a solar panel sitting there that's charging and making sure all the electronics are
So
running.
that's a great thing. So if you are running a municipality, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and have battery backup and have a cellular service for it. So if something does happen,
Exactly.
you're ahead of the game. I mean,
Right.
I live in a little bitty small town, and I get boil water advisories all the time. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And but and they wait till they find the pipe's broken or whatever happened. But in that situation with the cell card or the whatever, they get that signal out faster. They know they can warn the people ahead of time. Hey, it's a boil advisory. Hey, you got to do this. Hey, be careful. So that's really a cool aspect you guys have there. What else you got?
So I think as we move forward and look at where the world is going, prevention is better than cure.
Oh yeah.
Right. So what I advise is to people who are listening to this great podcast is keep that in mind. Don't try to make shortcuts. They will not pay in the long run, especially if you're in a kitchen space where the health is a big issue, both for the employees who are working there as well as your customer. Don't cut corners.
Yeah. It's too risky. There's a lot of things out there, and you never know what people have as far as problems or anything. So you want to be 100% safe and make sure that the water is taken care of, and make sure you're not siphoning back, putting chemicals or anything into the water or anything else in the system. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, Nadeem. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you very much for having me.
You taught me a lot about Backflow and Connected. I in my realm, I just see the little vacuum breakers. That's what I deal with.
Right.
But I go in the back of the kitchen. I see the big 2-inch lines coming in. I see the big backflow setup back there. Right. I see guys come in and test that, and I really don't understand what's going on with it. I know what it does, but I don't know how it works. And you've explained a lot about what backflow is and what its real purpose is. But now that you're connected via the internet, you can monitor a lot of those things. Like, hey, this flow pattern is weird. Something's going on here, and get ahead of that and save the customer a lot of money, because you get a leak in a building like this on a week. There's nothing in here. Someone may not even notice it, and next thing you know, you've done tens of thousands of dollars of damage from a simple little water leak.
Exactly, yeah. And also, just for your listener, if you happen to be in New England area, let us know, and we'll be happy to give you a tour of the factory.
Yeah, they're proud of that factory. I see it all the time. I'm jealous. Yeah. I'm like, if I ever get out there, I'm coming out to check out the facility.
Those of us who say manufacturing is gone from U.S., we're live and kicking.
Nice. Have a good day, sir. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.